Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome aboard. This is Just Parlays with Chris King. I am your host. I am Scott Steehn, lead handicapper at WHINERS.com. Chris, happy Friday, buddy. How are you?
Good, Scott. How are you?
I'm all right. It's triple header day for me as we do back to back to back. We do this show. I do the show with Scott. And then, of course, we do our NASCAR show. Big news on the NASCAR show. You guys want to stay tuned for that as we've closed the gap on Senor Reichel, at least as far
who really sucked last week.
Horrible. Spoiler alert, he was not good at all. Hey, how's your allergies doing? You better?
Yeah. Of course, I still got to go back out after the NASCAR show and help my wife plant flowers. But, hopefully we're still waiting for that rain that was supposed to be here last week when they said there was a 99% chance of rain and it sprinkled for about 3 minutes.
They're saying there's a chance.
Exactly. There's always a chance.
Ryan Page, happy Friday to you. That was a rough night at the 76ers game. Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, if you were a Sixers fan and now you're back to Harden talking about he doesn't know if he wants to play there because he doesn't know if that team is there to be a championship contender. Well, dumbass, you're the one that forced your way there in the first place.
Who was the dude that caught all the was it Charles Haley that had all the Super Bowl rings that went?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he had like 57 in a row or something.
He's the anti-Charles Haley. He's where Harden goes, you are assured not to win a championship.
He's kind of like Mike Lodish, who was a backup defensive tackle for the Bills, played in those first 4 Super Bowls, and then he went to the Chargers and played in the Super Bowl the next year.
Oh, against the Niners?
Yeah.
Yikes.
So,
yikes. That was
we'll just call James Harden the NBA's answer to Mike Lodish.
Fair enough. And yes, we wouldn't be our show if we didn't have a sub reference that most of you didn't get. So congratulations. We're starting early and often. Tim Earl says, happy Flat Earth Friday. I don't even know what that means. Do you know what that means?
I'm wondering if it's Kyrie Irving's birthday.
Oh, very good. I'm still trying to catch up with Birds Aren't Real, buddy. So.
No, Irving's birthday is in March. So I am apparently not familiar with what Flat Earth birthday is.
The sub reference that got even you. I feel a little better. Ryan Page says, Harden's got to go. Yeah, hopefully, no matter what team you're a fan of, everybody, hopefully he won't go to that team. So, like the Phillies money line, fade the Dodgers, but today the Dodgers a good pick. Fair enough, Ninja. All right, very good, very solid. Chris, I know you had a how did you hit any? Did you hit any 2-teamers on the show?
On the show, we had the Heat and the Bruins.
Okay, all right, the Bastard. The Samuel Adams parlay.
Exactly.
But so, I know for the second time this week, your premium picks, your premium players cashed a monster 4-teamer, all plus money. What did it pay, Chris?
$4,178.09 on $100.
There you go. Basically paid 42 to 1. And that was after cashing a 32 to 1 on Wednesday, correct?
Yeah, we had an 18 to 1 on the show.
And an 18 to 1 on the show. So
that was just pay, and of course that happened after I turned the Oilers game off because after the Kings tied the game up at 2 in the third period, I'm like, well, fuck this, Edmonton's going to blow it again.
Very good, and yeah, of course, it's no fun if you can't sweat them a little bit, there, brother.
Yeah, I know, but after seeing how Mike Smith and the Oilers have found ways to give away games, I thought they were in good shape when they were up 2-0, and then they give a goal like 40 seconds into the third, and I'm like, oh boy.
Right.
Like, here we go. It's Edmonton again.
Very good. And apropos of nothing, if you're looking to, would you like to cash some of those monster parlays, Chris does have his premium picks available in the description of the video. My premium picks are there as well. Usually I come on bragging about my premium picks from the day before. I'm not going to do that today. I will tell you I've had a great week. Yesterday, not so much. We played a little catch up yesterday. So,
well, I mean, you're not going to hit everyone every time. If you did, then they wouldn't call it gambling. They'd just call it free money.
That's right. And they'd call it free money. Here, take a bag. So, it is
take a bag and leave.
Take a bag and leave. It is good to be here on this fabulous Friday. Hope the good weather is extending to a lot of you guys out there. And yeah, we're happy to get rocking and rolling. Before we do, of course, we want to remind everybody to like and subscribe, smash that thumb, and get subscribed to the YouTube channels of the Winners and Whiners network, as well as the Max Wagers network. So check out both of those. Check out the special deal we got going with our partners over at Caesars as we bring you the opportunity to place your first bet risk-free up to $1,100 in bet insurance from the fine folks over there at Caesars. You must be 21 unless you're in New Hampshire or Wyoming, and you got to be 18 there. Of course, it's available only where Caesars is available. It's your first bet, first deposit. You must use the code ATSWINS CZR, and you must click the link that is provided. And both of those are available in the description of today's show. So make sure you check that out. I don't know how much longer we're going to be doing that, but it's probably not going to be.
But take it while it's there.
Terribly long. Take advantage of it while it is there if you have it. It's a great chance if you've got one of those locks, one of those games you are absolutely dead certain of. Throw a little extra money on that one and have it insured completely. So there you go. Big day yesterday, Chris. The NFL schedule came out. Any first thoughts for you as a Bills fan? What do you got? What are you looking at?
Well, I mean, the fun thing for Buffalo is they'll get to play on opening night. They'll play the Rams at SoFi Stadium. That ought to be a really good matchup. Von Miller gets to go back to the team he just won a ring with. Now he gets to go against them. And then after that, they'll play Tennessee on Monday Night Football the following week. So automatically you get a 3-day rest advantage over the Titans going into week 2.
Right.
There's some other good games, that Buffalo's got on the schedule. I know they'll face Kansas City at Arrowhead again. I think it's in week 8. I think it's 8.
That sounds right. I have to tell you, I have not really checked the schedule at all. The only schedule checking I did, my buddies texted me and wanted to see if we wanted to get tickets to the Raiders game, which was in October, and we did. That's literally all I know. I know of the Chiefs games. I'm going to one of them. So
yeah, they'll play October 16th. It'll be in the late window, so you'll have Jim Nance and Tony Romo more than likely as the announcers there. Then they get a bye week, and then they get to play Green Bay at home on Sunday Night Football. So some really good games on the schedule. Of course, you're looking at some of the games here in week 1. Apparently, according to the early odds, week 1 features a record number of home underdogs. 10 home teams are currently underdogs in week 1.
10 home dogs. Man, everybody's going to be burning the midnight oil, finding out those trends of week 1 home underdogs. You know it off the top of your head, Mr. Gambling?
What's that again?
Do you know it off the top of your head? What's the record week 1 home underdogs? How do they do?
Apparently, I'm going to take a look here and see if I can find that because I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm not seeing it right away. But the teams that are underdogs, the Bears and the Texans are the biggest home underdogs. Texans a 7.5-point underdog to the Colts. The Bears a 6-point underdog to the 49ers.
Oh.
Other home teams that are underdogs, the Jets. Gee, there's a surprise. The Falcons, the Panthers, the Lions, the Cardinals, the Vikings, the Cowboys, and the Seahawks. And, of course, the Seahawks will open up their season at, Lumen Field now?
Mm-hmm.
Against their former quarterback as Russell Wilson and the Broncos come to town.
You got to love that. Yeah, the West matchup this year, AFC West versus NFC West. So what a natural first game. Or as Ninja said, what a joke.
Well, you talk about jokes. They also pointed out,
or what a mockery. I'm sorry. Even
you saw Carson Wentz was traded to the Commanders. So what does the league do? Carson Wentz in his first game playing for Washington will face the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Perfect.
The team that knocked the Colts out of the playoffs last year.
Outstanding.
And there you go, Scott. Home teams covered the spread last season at a clip of only 48%, and it had a losing record against the spread in 15 of the last 18 years, including 4 in a row.
But that wasn't home underdogs.
No. I'll see if I can find anything about home underdogs.
Teams, this is home teams in general. Michael says we should have a wager on that Chiefs-Bill game, barbecue versus wings. I'm up for a wager. I'm not going to have you wager wings. I'm not going to have some prime cut of beef or pork or ribs that takes all day to smoke, and you just throw some, trash that fucking people throw away when they eat real chicken, put them in a pan, a little seasoning salt on them. That's not a fucking trade right there.
I don't put seasoning salt on wings.
Whatever. Or the seasoning, whatever. What do you eat there in South Carolina? Seafood? You got some crabs or shrimp?
Seafood's more towards the coast, but I mean,
okay. How far are you from the coast?
It's about 4 hours the other way.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's see. Home underdogs last year. The best records were the Steelers and the Titans were 3-0.
Okay.
And the 49ers, Rams, and Packers were all 1-0. Those were your undefeated teams.
All right.
On the flip side, teams that won no games or covered no games as a home underdog. The Browns were 0-1. The Patriots were 0-2. The Chargers were 0-1. The Colts were 0-3. The Falcons were 0-4. The Eagles were 0-4, and the Bears were 0-5.
There you go. Not a lot of the teams you might suspect. A lot of bad teams that underperform at home. Ninth Wonder says you listen to Thin Lizzy. Boys are back in town. Are you listening to the whole Jailbreak album? Cowboy song, my favorite Thin Lizzy song of all time. You like that song?
Yeah, it's a good song.
Carolina has barbecue. Yeah, nothing like KC, but still, we've talked about that, Michael. They fucking put. If you could, I'd bet barbecue versus barbecue if you could control your emotions and keep the goddamn coleslaw off of it.
Like I said, I don't put coleslaw on my barbecue.
Okay, all right, very good, very good. Super Sly in the house. Let's get rolling, buddy. We got a lot to do today. I'm sure we will talk more in depth about the schedule. Chiefs have a very, very difficult schedule. Like I said, they match up against the West, and they also match up against the AFC South. In addition to playing the first place teams, they have to play, of course, Buffalo is the first place team, and Cincinnati. They got a little rematch against Cincinnati as they go to Cincinnati, the home of Skyline Chili. Like Skyline Chili?
No.
Good answer. It's shit.
I'm sure Reichel will eat it.
They put cinnamon in it. Stop doing that. Stop putting cinnamon in chili. Not there.
Apparently, the team with the most difficult schedule based on opposing win percentage this year. Do you know who it is?
The Chiefs?
No, it's the Rams.
Oh, the Rams?
567 opposing winning percentage last season.
Well, it had to be one of the teams from the West because, and it makes sense, it's the other first place team. So they must have a couple more. I don't know how you have more difficult first place teams to play than Buffalo and Cincinnati.
Well, I mean, the Rams have to play Buffalo too.
Okay. All right. So what's the other first place team they're playing?
And
how are they going to be better? How are they better rated than Cincinnati?
Well, you got to remember the NFC or the AFC West wasn't super competitive last year. Meanwhile, in the NFC West,
what I'm saying though, the Chiefs and the Rams play 8 identical games.
Right. I'm checking the Rams schedule here.
Yeah, basically 8, not quite, but you know.
Okay.
So
they played Dallas. Let's see. They play Buffalo, then they play Atlanta, then they play Arizona, San Francisco, Dallas, Carolina, the 49ers again, Tampa Bay, Arizona, the Saints, Kansas City. That's November 27th.
They play the NFC South as opposed to we play the AFC South. Okay,
right? Because they also have to play Green Bay.
There you go. There's your other first place team. All right.
Yeah, I had to figure out who it was, but yeah, Green Bay.
All right. Very good. Anything
By the way, the Chiefs are tied for 5th for strongest.
Yeah, I forgot with the AFC South lumped in there. That's going to drag that strength of schedule down a little bit with
Houston and Jacksonville.
Jacksonville and Houston. Yep, absolutely correct.
That's why the Bengals have the strongest one among AFC teams.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I agree with that with 6 teams against the North.
Well, I'm just saying based on last year's winning percentage.
Okay. All right. Very good. You ready to get started?
Sure.
3 games Sunday. Huh? Late. No, this is late. I got a note. Okay. You submit it through the regular channels. We appreciate it. Yeah, we'll bet some barbecue as that game gets closer.
And regarding last night's hockey, all I'm going to say is in that Tampa Bay Toronto game, I could have sworn Scott Foster was refereeing because the 2 penalties that led to the tying goal, one, the guy didn't even get hit with the stick, and he just turned his head and looked like he got shot. The second one, Hedman lifted Kerfoot's stick into his own face, and they whistled Kerfoot for a high stick. So it was weird. I mean, I give Tampa Bay credit for scoring on the power play and then winning in overtime, but it never should have gotten to that point if the officiating was any kind of normal. I mean, if I'm holding the stick and you grab your stick and hook it under and slam my stick into your face, that should be a penalty on you for being stupid.
It does sound, but it sounds like something that maybe they didn't see the whole play itself. They just saw the stick come up.
It could be, but I mean, if you're going to do that, when Paul Bissonnette, who's a known thug, that when he played in the National Hockey League, says that you got hosed on a call, you apparently got hosed on a call because, Bissonnette is not shy about dropping the gloves when he played in the NHL, and he wants to make sure you get your money's worth if you're going to get whistled for something.
Hey, let me ask you this. I've seen it on Twitter, and I've seen it in my comment section, and I'm kind of seeing it here a little bit in our comment section here today. Do you believe there's any kind of fix or suggestions from the league and or television networks to take every opportunity to extend the series to 7 games?
God, sometimes you wonder, don't you?
You really do.
I mean, because some of these things, you would think
I'm not putting it out there to make fun of it or to denigrate it at all. I'm putting it out there as a legitimate question.
No, and I thought about that sometimes too, because everybody wants to talk about the TV money and the ratings and everything else, and some of these series should have been over by now, clearly. But everybody wants to see McDavid in a Game 7. Everybody wants to see if Tampa Bay can stave off elimination in a Game 7 because they've won back-to-back cups. Everybody wants Toronto to be in a Game 7 because they always find ways to lose in Game 7.
Right.
But I mean, it's a legitimate concern, and Ninja said there. Speaking of Scott Foster, he refs tonight, so take Scott Foster on the money line.
Yeah, we talked about that before the show. He's got the Boston game tonight.
Yep, and according to records in his career, and that includes this season, the team trailing in a series is 20-5 when Scott Foster refs.
He's the extender. He's the human extender.
Yep. So by that token, you could see the Celtics and Bucks go to 7.
So that's an overlay. I mean, 80% of the time the series gets extended with him when it should be roughly 50-50, I'm thinking.
Yeah, at best, you would think.
Sure. Yeah, so you've got a 30% overlay there. That's definitely something you have to keep, because that's a fair body of work. 25 games gets into at least a semi-actionable sample size.
Yeah, I mean, there's no telling because talking about its regular season numbers don't really matter because there's no series there. But right. I think, like you said, you're getting to the point where it's not just a fluke.
Because I don't know what it is for hockey, or really I don't know what it is for, but I'm sure it's millions of dollars in revenue, if not tens of millions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know what they make net off of each of these games after they have to pay, obviously for the rights and the time and all that, but their advertising revenue, it's obviously more profitable than the rerun of Everybody Loves Raymond or whatever TNT or TBS would be showing in that same slot,
or Sanford and Son.
In lieu, it's the big one. I swear to God, Elizabeth, it's the big one. What they would be showing in lieu of Game 7. So yeah, it's something. If you're a believer in that, I'm not going to tell you not to factor it into your handicapping. If you've got a situation where it's a close call on a Game 6, something like that, a default position of take the extension of the series wouldn't necessarily be a horrible thing.
I mean, we saw it with Toronto and Philadelphia in the first round because Philadelphia, had Toronto dead in the water at 3-0, and then all of a sudden it was 3-2, and Foster ref Game 4 of that series.
Right. Yep.
And Embiid called him out on it, and he got fined.
Yeah,
he said the refs had one job today, and they did it.
Oh man, that's pretty brutal, and I can see why he got fined. So, what comes in? So, what comes in more into play? Because Philadelphia, they pissed off the refs. They're done in 6.
Well, he didn't ref Game 6 though. So
no, but the refs did in general. He was calling out the refs in general.
True.
I don't know that he necessarily had it directionalized. So last night, if you're a conspiracy guy, the Mavs shot 36 free throws. And the Phoenix Suns shot 31, or shot 21. So they shot 15 more free throws.
There you go.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. All right, buddy. Let's talk about some bets.
All right. We will start in the Big Apple, where the New York Mets take on the Seattle Mariners. Nobody likes the Mariners because every time we talk, well, Ninja does because he's a Mariners fan. But
I like them. I like the makeup of that team. They just disappoint me time after time.
I know. I mean, every time we've talked about the Mariners, like we talked about Logan Gilbert the other day, and he made one bad pitch and it got crushed into the seats for a grand slam.
Yeah, we jinxed him.
We've talked about some of the other guys, and they just find ways to lose games. Or as Kay Stevenson, the former Buffalo Bills coach, said, "We found a way to steal defeat from the jaws of victory."
One of my favorite quotes of all time. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Well done.
But it's going to be Marco Gonzalez on the mound, 1-4 with a 3.91 ERA, a 1.618 WHIP, 10 walks, 17 strikeouts, and 25 1/3. He's only averaging 4 1/3 innings to start. He's going to go against Max Scherzer, 4-1, a 2.92 ERA, a 9.46 WHIP, 9 walks, 49 strikeouts over 37 innings. Scott, do you give Gonzalez a snowball's chance in hell?
Strange things happen in this wonderful game we call baseball, but based on how those teams are playing and most importantly how they're pitching right now, yeah, I think this is a solid play with the Mets. I'm a little worried about counting on the Mets to cover the run line. If you wanted to throw 2 1/4 on a multi-leg parlay to put just a little Sousson on there, I don't hate that, but I don't necessarily believe I have confidence in the Mets to have an offensive explosion and cover the 1.5.
I mean, they are 8th in the majors in runs per game, but
I know how they've done lately. That's my question. That's why.
Let me see. I mean, they had that bad game where we talked about McGill, and then McGill sucked.
Oh, we jinxed. Yeah, we've put the jinx on some people this week, man. We really have.
Last 10 games, the Mets have scored 2, 5, 3, 2, 8, 2, 6, 4, 3, 4.
Okay. See, that's what that was that stretch, the 2, 3, 2. That's what I was looking at there. So it's certainly a team that has the capability.
Yeah, they scored 17 runs in the last 4.
Anytime you've got Alonso on your team, you certainly have a chance. But if you're averaging 4 1/4 over the last 4, I don't necessarily have supreme confidence in you to cover the 1.5.
I'm just going to look and see what the Mariners have done offensively lately besides being offensive, because they always find ways to blow games. Let's see. Mariners the last 10, 0-0-2, 3-7, 2-2-0, 5-2.
They've been absolutely dreadful there.
I didn't realize it was that bad. But
in their last 10, no, I didn't either. Put it together like that against, you can be excused against Tampa, but if you're only scoring 7 runs in 3 games against Philly, I got no use for you.
Yeah, they scored 23 runs in the last 10, and 7 of those came in that 8-7 loss to Tampa Bay last Friday.
In Gilbert's game there. Yep, absolutely true. All right.
Wow, those are some ugly numbers.
Okay, well, I like it a little better then. I didn't realize.
And Tim said
I knew Seattle was struggling. I didn't know they were struggling that badly.
Yeah, Tim said they don't need to have an offensive explosion. 4-1 covers the run line.
Wait a minute. Yeah, math checks out there, Tim.
And Michael Duss said 4-2 also.
All right.
Check out the brains on Tim. That's right, the metric system.
Check out the big brain on Brad. All right. I'm convinced. You've beaten me down. Lay all of your money. Open up that account at Caesars. Put your $1,100 fucking dollars on the Mets -1.5. It's a lock. You cannot lose. There you go.
Tim also said it's the first time the Mariners have played at Citi Field, because the last time they played in New York City was back in 2008.
Okay.
Just one of those off-the-wall trivia trends.
I'm not sure what that does one way or the other, but sure. Maybe they'll be awestruck by the fucking apple going up and down, and they will be distracted and not able to score more than 1 run. So,
and Sly said -225 seems okay for Scherzer. He always expects worse.
That's a great point. I would say -225 is probably about the average of what Scherzer faces. The only reason it's not more is because he's always facing the number 1.
Right.
So, It'll be interesting to see some of the prices on him later in the season when DeGrom comes back. If DeGrom's in the 1 and Scherzer's in the 2 hole.
Yeah, now they're saying DeGrom's not going to be back till July.
Right. Yeah. The whole time I said All-Star break when they first started talking about, well, it might be 2 weeks. And now it'll be 2 weeks.
He'll be back next start.
Right. Okay. Very good. I think we all agree, at least the run line here.
And that takes us to the other team from the Big Apple who burned us yesterday because we thought Dylan Cease would pitch better. Yeah. And I guess that was a typical Dylan Cease start, throw 100 and some pitches in 4 innings, strike out 11, give up 4 runs. And then the bullpen was absolutely horrible because, it was a 7-7 game going to the 8th, and then the Yankees scored the go-ahead touchdown in the top of the inning. And at that
wide open. Can't believe they beat zone coverage like that.
I know. It's like they forgot to line somebody up on that side of the field.
Yeah, there was confusion at the snap, no question.
But the Yankees 22-8, the White Sox 15-14. Reichel saying that bet on Tony La Russa being the next manager to get fired is looking pretty good.
Who?
That's what Reichel said. He said Tony La Russa is the next manager to get fired.
Reichel said that when?
Yesterday on Twitter.
Oh, I thought he was in the comment section again. I didn't know he was in the comment. Reichel actually listened to the show yesterday.
He did?
Yeah.
Was he the guy that said Scott that said I'm here?
Yeah, he made a comment. So
yeah, I didn't know if that was him or not.
Apparently it is.
He didn't put his last name on it, so.
Yeah, I got to take Cole. Cole turned it around as soon as I started fading him. As soon as I jumped on Cole sucks without the sticky stuff. He's done. He'll never be good again. Fuck him. He's dead to me. I don't think he's given up a run since then.
Let's see.
He's been outstanding. I know I'm probably exaggerating, but not.
Yeah, I know he's pitched well. Yeah. And I don't trust Vince Velasquez.
No, that's the guy. That's the guy we wanted to fade yesterday. You want to talk about playing the under? You want No, we don't want Velasquez. No, not a bit.
Cole in his last 3 starts since that outing where he got pulled after an inning and 2/3 when he walked 5 guys. 6 2/3, no runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. 6 innings against the Royals, no runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts.
Yeah.
6 1/3 on Sunday against the Rangers, 1 run, 5 hits, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts.
So to recap real quickly, since I called him dog shit and done with his career, he's pitched 19 innings, giving up 1 run.
Yep.
Hey,
and striking out 25.
Go fuck yourself, Garrett Cole. All right. Yankees big time here. Not a fan of Velasquez. You can read all the stuff. There it is. It's a lot. Yankees good. White Sox bad. And they are, I think the one that stands out the most to me, Yankees killing against right-handers 14-3 and just 13-38 are the White Sox in their last 51 as dogs.
And the Yankees have won 8 of the last 9 between these teams.
There you go. Very good. All right, bud. Moving on.
We'll go to the ice where there's still game 6s to be played, damn it. And we've got the Florida Panthers and the Washington Capitals. I don't see Jim Williams in the chat talking about Washington, so apparently he must have given up on them after they lost back-to-back games.
It's dead to me.
He punted on 3rd down. And this ain't the Canadian Football League.
I was going to say, how very Canadian of them.
The Panthers lead the series 3-2. They won 5-3 on Wednesday night. It's going to be Sergei Bobrovsky against Ilya Samsonov. The Capitals seemed to get a boost from Samsonov when they put him in game 3. Then they lost games 4 and 5. I'm surprised they're not going to go back to Vitek Vanacek or Pete Peters or Bob Mason. Or
sure, any of those people.
You don't even know who Pete Peters is?
I don't know any of those fucking people.
Good God, you don't watch hockey.
I know Samsonov from his luggage. That's it.
He'll be here all week, folks.
Stay tuned for 2 more shows with me today. If you haven't had enough of the steamroller yet, I got 2 more hours, baby.
Both teams have.
By the way, my son's doing 24 hours straight this weekend.
What was the punishment for that?
Oh, he's streaming 24 hours straight. He's got a wheel of punishment if he's playing games. He's got a wheel of punishment if he loses games.
I saw the wheel. Some of those punishments weren't that bad. Come on, a quarter cup of ketchup.
Let me tell you something. There's something very, very wrong with that fucking kid. I'm going to be the first.
He's related to you. I mean, what did you expect?
He never had a chance. I expected his mom to do a better job. She's the one that really let the team
down. Good thing she's not here.
Oh, no, she never listens to the show. She has quite enough of me on a daily basis. So you like the Panthers big here. You like them on the puck line, Chris. That's really the only question. Do you think this becomes a blowout, or do you think they keep it close and the Panthers just wear them down?
I think that the Panthers are going to end up covering the puck line. I think it might be a 1-goal game late, and then they'll hit the empty net to win or to seal it up. I just think that, Washington, they've been so inconsistent, and they've really struggled down the stretch. They struggled at the end of the regular season.
Right.
They haven't been all that great here in the playoffs. I just don't trust the Capitals. And I know that's weird because I know that you've talked about you weren't going to trust the Panthers because they haven't won a series since 1996. But
right.
all good things have to come to an end sooner or later.
That's right. The Chiefs hadn't won a Super Bowl for 50 years, and they won one. So, yes.
Oh, there you go.
Trends change. Absolutely.
I'm going to regret asking this question considering how well you just showed your hockey knowledge. What do you make of this game?
Yeah, I think the Caps had their chance. I think that in the elimination game here, yeah, I'm with you. I'm convinced this Panthers offense, they're just freaking relentless. They just pepper you. I don't care if it's I don't care who's in goal. If it's Samsonov, with those Bob Jackson, whatever the Zamboni.
Vitek Vanacek is the backup.
Sure. That was
not to be confused with Vanacek that George Papard played in the 70s.
George Papard, right? Yeah. There's no Night Stalker, but yeah, you could put Reichel in goal, and it wouldn't matter to me. I think this Panthers offense is just too relentless. And as far as
Reichel could do that.
As far as the puck line goes, we talked about this. Anytime it's an elimination game, the desperation really, really sets in. You start pulling goalies with 5 minutes left and shit.
Look at Minnesota yesterday.
Things go south in a hurry. So I don't hate the puck line there either. Speaking
of the Blues, they had a good game yesterday. They seem to have really turned it around since Bennington went in.
Bennington, baby. Bennington.
So now here's a question for you. When the Blues play the Colorado Avalanche in round 2,
yep,
will Ville Husso ever see the net again?
I wouldn't think so unless things really go south the first couple of games.
There you go, folks. Look at that insight.
That'd be my prediction. Well, I mean, am I wrong?
No, I agree with you. Unless they're getting shelled, and don't get me wrong, that is a viable possibility. With his, you talk about Florida being relentless. Colorado is just as brutal on the offensive end of the ice.
Yep, and they're healthy. They finally got everybody back and healthy. I know that's a big deal.
Yep.
So yeah, this is because I do the show there in Denver on Saturdays. I do kind of keep up with the Avalanche probably more than anybody else, and I know this team has been extraordinary. Of course, they were extraordinary last year too. They had the best record and end up losing to Vegas. So this is a team that's not inured against early exits from the playoffs, but on paper, you have to like Colorado there, right?
I think so. I mean, they're good in their own end. They're dangerous offensively. You don't want to give them a power play because they will just carve you up, like a Thanksgiving turkey.
That's right.
And it'll be rough. And like Lesman said, bye Washington. That comeback punch in the mouth last game was devastating. The Capitals led that game Wednesday night 3-0.
Yeah.
And completely fell apart. Reminded me of a game when they played back in December where Washington was up 4-1 in the third period against Florida. Jim turned the game off. Looked in the paper the next morning, saw Florida scored 4 goals in the third to win 5-4. They outshot Washington in the third period that night, 27-2.
That'll get her done. That'll get her done indeed. All right. Yep. I think we're on board here.
As Sly said, goaltending's let the Avs down in the past. They need Kemper to be healthy, and that's true. Hopefully he can come back from that stick in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was good that series was over quickly to give him ample recovery time. And that has been that. And I was actually going to say that because that has been the Achilles heel of
ever since Patrick Roy left.
Yes. See, even I know that's not how you say it.
Well, see, I thought you were just going to go along with it.
It's Patrick Roy.
Oh, there you go.
Next,
Paint Chip Roy. There you go. Sounds like a garbage pail kid. I'm going to take the Stars here at home in Game 6 because, hey, why not? Everybody else is going to Game 7. Why can't we? That's Dallas's motto at this point. And I know we talked about it yesterday. Calgary is talking about, Calgary is not sitting there in the visitors' locker room saying, well, we'll have Game 7 at home if we lose.
Right.
But nobody scores any goals in this series. I mean, come on. They had 3 goals in the third period the other day. One of them was an empty netter to win 3-1. If you're looking for offense, don't watch this series. If you're looking for a good way to go to sleep, then tune in because you'll be bored by people just clearing the puck down the ice repeatedly. Jake Ottinger, I feel bad for Ottinger. He's played 5 games. He's given up 10 goals, and he's got 3 losses.
Yep. He's been very good and nothing to show for it. Correct.
Yeah, and I mean Markstrom, he's a Vezina finalist for a reason, but neither one of these teams score. Like I said, they're the 2 worst teams in the league when it comes to putting the puck in the net in the playoffs, which conversely makes them the 2 best teams at keeping the puck out of the net. That's just the way math works.
Slow down there, Newton.
But the Stars 4-1 in their last 5 on one-day arrest. They're 5-2 in their last 7 conference quarterfinal matchups. They're 5-2 against the Pacific. And the Flames, sure, they've done a good job getting 3 wins, but the toughest part in any playoff series, and anyone will tell you this, is getting the 4th one.
Wait, the Calgary Flames play in the Pacific Division?
Yes.
Nobody got a goddamn map in Canada?
Well, they're in there with Vancouver, Edmonton, Vegas, Arizona, Seattle, and the Kings. I think that's all. I think that's all 8.
3 of those teams can see the Pacific Ocean?
Well, what are you gonna do? Rename the division?
I got some oceanfront property in Arizona.
See, I personally liked when the divisions actually had names that meant something, like the Adams division and the Patrick division.
Oh, absolutely! I want them named after guys I have no fucking idea who they are. That's perfect. It's the Schmerbeldorp division.
You don't know who Jack Adams was, or James Patrick, or not James Patrick, Lester Patrick, or James Norris, or Conn Smythe.
The only thing you've done wrong there is add a question mark at the end of all those statements.
You've never heard of the Conn Smythe Trophy?
Of course, I've heard of the Conn Smythe Trophy. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he did. Apparently made a nice trophy.
There you go.
Adams. Look at your fucking Jack Adams right here.
Yeah, you probably think it was named after Sam Adams.
It would make more sense to me.
There you go, folks. Scott Steehn showing he knows absolutely nothing when it comes to sports history about the National Hockey League. I'll have to send you my book.
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
I'll get your address from Google and mail it to you.
I'm sorry, man. I don't know the history of hockey. I didn't grow up with it. They didn't play it in my hometown. I didn't play it as a kid. I came to it late. I like hockey, but it's again just not something that's second nature like it is where when you grew up in Buffalo. What the fuck? What else you got in Buffalo? We're in Buffalo. What do you want to do? Well, we're going to be in our goddamn house for 6 months straight. So we better have something to watch. Hey, how about this game on ice? That makes sense. You think you have an opportunity to play ice hockey in Buffalo? Yeah, through July. So
we usually played street hockey.
Okay, well, that's great, fantastic. I take no shit about my lack of hockey history knowledge. No, fuck off.
See, now he's just bitter because he's been exposed as a fraud.
I never represented anything else. I never
represented himself as a fraud. This man should run for politics.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He'd win in a landslide.
Get the Conn Smythe out of here. So you like Dallas? That's dumb. They're not going to win.
Wow, that's some enlightening insight based on absolutely nothing.
The Flames are up in the series, right? And they have 3-2.
Yeah, they've also had home ice advantage, and but this game's in Dallas.
Oh, okay. It makes a difference.
Oh, and Michael said you just got a 5-minute major.
I don't know. I don't know what that is, but it sounds bad. No, I know what it is. I want to know, how do you get? What's the difference between? I do have a legitimate question. What's the difference between a 5-minute major and a double minor?
A double minor is 4 minutes.
I understand the math, but what's the distinction?
It's usually if it's egregious or not. If you take a Dale Hunter run at somebody, that's probably a major.
Nope.
Or if it's fighting, it's a major.
Okay.
A lot of times
they fight all the time.
Normally, if you get a major for a penalty that could be given a double minor for, it's normally there's an intent to injure or something attached to it, which is normally a match penalty.
Okay. An intent to injury.
Yeah, if you take your stick
but
and
not like a regular fight where you're just throwing love taps.
well, no, I'm saying if you get called for high sticking, you get a major. Either you took it over your head and tried to tomahawk somebody with it,
Okay.
or you're trying to gouge his eye out with it or something like that.
So what you're saying is, if there's a possibility that criminal charges could be filed, it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, probably. Normally,
if it's likely
if you draw blood, it's automatically normally a double minor.
Okay, it's a double minor, so you get 2 minutes for slashing and 2 minutes for drawing blood.
Yeah, they just call it the double minor for slashing, but
Okay.
If they see blood, it's normally 4 minutes, unless your referee is Kerry Frazier or somebody like that who completely misses it, and then there's no penalty at all.
Fair enough. Kerry Frazier, the Don Denkinger of the NHL, I'm assuming. I know you're still bitter about not calling the penalty on Gretzky.
Yeah, I mean,
was it 35 years ago?
No, it was 1993.
Oh, just 29 years ago. I feel so much better now. Okay. I feel properly chastised.
You should be.
Okay, good.
All right, now we can move on to the NBA.
Do you have another reason you like Dallas other than it just being the home team?
I think that Dallas has played better at home. I think Ottinger, has stood on his head, and I think it's about time for Pavelski and Hintz and Robertson and those guys to actually contribute. And I think Calgary gets a little complacent because they were up 1-0 in the series and then dropped the next 2.
Right.
They seem to play better from behind in the series than they do when they're ahead.
All right. Fair enough. All right, moving on. Oh, the NBA.
The Scott Foster game. That's all we need to say about this.
Right. Who's the home team here, buddy?
Milwaukee.
Who's down 3-2?
Boston. But Milwaukee's also 1-6-1 in their last 8 at home as a home favorite.
That's not ideal.
And they're 1-6-1 in their last 8 at home, period. They're 0-3-1 in their last 4 at home against teams with a winning record.
Celtics playing good ball on the road.
Yeah, they play well. They're 6-0-1 against the spread in their last 7 as a road underdog. They're 5-1 in their last 6 after an ATS loss. I'm not expecting a bunch of points. I doubt you are either.
Oh, no.
I think this is probably going to regress back into one of those slugfests that we saw in the first couple games of the series where, you'll be happy if anybody gets triple digits.
I mean, you keep thinking, especially with the Milwaukee offense, that, you wouldn't be surprised to see one of these games go, 215, 220 something, but they just don't. They grind out every possession. Both defenses are playing very good ball. We talked about that. Milwaukee defense playing good in the playoffs. Boston defense playing good all year. Kind of had an outlier the other night, but that was only because of a monster fourth quarter where they put up 70 points.
Right.
That was right on track to stay under the total too. And even at 70 points in the fourth quarter, it still ended up 217.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a hard time doing anything but the under as far as the total goes in this game. And I like the trends on the Celtics as well. I think, again, I'll say this: I think the Bucks are a better team. I think the Celtics are a better team as a unit. I think.
Yeah, they play a better brand of team basketball.
Correct. Thanks for putting it into one sentence, what I was struggling to say in a paragraph. Yes.
And like Sly said, Marcus Smart will be on the lookout for J-Rue Holiday.
That's right. You know that he will be looking for Drew Holiday for sure.
And you have to think that, by the same token, that the Celtics will box out on free throws.
Be nice. It'd be certainly a big improvement. 212.5. Yeah, this is another one. I said it the other night. As long as I keep seeing numbers above 210, I have to play the under here.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on the Celtics.
And that takes us to the Grizzlies and the Warriors. Now, God knows we saw that game the other night. Back-to-back clunkers if you're a Golden State offensive team. And I saw someone brought up in the chat before, do you think that I think it might have been Ninja, do you think that the Warriors are worse without Steve Kerr?
Yes. I think when you have one of the arguably greatest coaches of all time, certainly top 10, you could argue about top 5, yes or no. Whether it comes down to whether it's the coach or whether it's fantastic players that he had. But
right.
Yes, I think they are absolutely a less of a team without Steve Kerr pulling the strings.
And the funny thing is, Mike Brown, he's coached in the league before. Now he's going to go take over the Sacramento job. Are the
Right.
Kings looking at this and going, "Oh fuck, what did we just do?"
Well, that's Reichel's theory. He hates Mike Brown. We talked about this yesterday. He was absolutely just. I swear to God, that kid hates every coach.
It sounds like he hates Doc Rivers except for his post game press conferences.
He came around on Tyronn Lue. Because I was on him last year. He hated Lue with the Clippers, and so yeah, he wrote.
He hates Quinn Snyder, I know too.
Hates Quinn Snyder. Well, I do too, but for different reasons. But
because he left Missouri.
Well, because of what he did at Missouri, he was just absolutely fucking dreadful. But I think this is an insult. I think this line is an insult to the Grizzlies.
That's what I think too. I mean, and that's why I took the points. Now, of course, the last time I took the points with Memphis, they got blown out by 30.
I get it. But I just think this is a team. I'm not going to say they play better basketball without Ja Morant, but they certainly are accustomed to playing without Ja Morant, and they have a very good record, including the playoffs. What does that make them? 21-6 on the year without Morant.
Yeah.
And they had a chance to win that game in Golden State that they lose by 3. They're the game before last, before they blew out Golden State by 40.
In a game that wasn't that close.
In a game that wasn't, exactly. They win by 39, and it wasn't that close, and that is exactly correct. I love this stat that you put out here. Grizzlies are 13-3 ATS last 16 against a team with a winning percentage over 600. And that's very, very solid. And the Warriors not doing well against the number 1-6 ATS their last 7. So, and that continues in the playoffs as well, especially as a favorite.
Speaking as coaches, Michael says Phil Jackson, Red Auerbach, and Pat Riley better than Steve Kerr.
Okay.
What about Popovich? Where would you put Popovich?
Top 10.
Would you put him better than Steve Kerr?
Maybe. I think he did more with less.
Speaking of doing more or less, I think Lenny Wilkins, Chuck Daly did quite a bit with
Detroit,
built around Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars and not a whole lot else.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fair. You can, I think you have to put Spoelstra in there too. I think you have to talk about Spoelstra.
I agree with that too.
You could talk about Nick Nurse. Now maybe we're into top 20 or so, but yeah, there's a lot of guys we could put in there.
And from a bias perspective, I think Jerry Sloan did a great job in Utah because outside of Malone and Stockton, you were looking at not a whole lot.
Right. All right, bud. We got to get to it. Let's do it.
All right. These are all easy. We're going to go with the Mets and the Yankees as a 2-teamer there because, hey, why not?
I'm in a New York state of mind. All right.
I'm going to go with Antetokounmpo putting up 33.5 points. You look at the last few games, he's had, 42, 34, and 40. We've talked about how Boston can't stop him. He'd probably go over this easily if he could knock down some fucking free throws.
Yep.
But I still think they're going to go to the same game plan. Obviously, with Middleton not there, he's got to carry the lion's share of the offense. So I look for him to go over that number. The other one I looked at was over 53.5 for points, rebounds, and assists. I just don't know if he'll pass the ball enough to get over that.
Yeah, no, that's, because you figure him for 12 boards and then you come down to 7 or 8 or 9 assists. No.
Yeah, that's why I stayed away from it.
I'm with you. I'd rather play the points than PRA.
And I'm going to go back to the Flames and Stars staying under 5.5 because why not? Nobody wants to friggin' score in this game. You could have soccer goals out there and the game would still be 2-1.
Absolutely. And?
Ninja says he's going to take Draymond Green under 6.5 or 7.5 points.
Okay. I don't know how many he's had. I'm assuming he's usually got pretty good player props. So I'm assuming he's done the research on that and likes it for a reason. I'll have to keep an eye on that and maybe tail it.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see what Green's done. I know he has. I think he had 7 points the other night.
Sounds right.
Something. I think he had 7 points, 7 rebounds, or 5 points and 7 rebounds. It was. I know he had 7, 7, and 5. I just don't remember which way they fell.
I'm also interested in playing the Chris Paul under.
What's the number for that on?
I don't know. It's been like 15.5. And,
Yeah, I thought he was going to go over the other day, and then he only shot like 4 times.
Yeah, he hasn't scored more than 12 in the last.
It's like we don't need him. We don't need you to shoot the ball. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, well, that's exactly, and it worked. It worked the game before last, but it didn't work yesterday. So
Green, 5, 2, 5, 6, and 6 points in this series.
ugh. I didn't realize he'd been that bad.
Yeah, he scored 11 and 13 in the last 2 games against Denver, and he had a game with 12 in game 1. But in the other 7 games in the playoffs, Green has not scored more than 6 points.
Not ideal. Not ideal. It's a great tip, Ninja. That's why I love the comment section of the Winners and Whiners, folks. Man, it is. You got some sharp dudes out there that are here to help everybody out. So that's very cool.
On the 14, I'm going to take Houston over Washington. It's Gray, and I think Framber Valdez is going for the Astros.
Yeah.
Gray's pitched well. I just don't know if he can keep it going.
Okay.
We talked about the Panthers and the Capitals already. I'm going to look for Jackson to go over 17.5 points. He had 21 the other day in 25 minutes.
Yep.
And as long as he stays out of picking up 17 fouls in 3 minutes, he's gonna have to contribute on the offensive end. The other number I looked at was over 1.5 blocks because he averaged 1.8 in the regular season, and with Steven Adams on the floor, it goes up to 2.8.
Okay.
So that's another option you can look at. And I'm going to take the Brewers over the Marlins, Corbin Burns over Pablo Lopez.
Yeah, somebody put that in the comment section early, and I forgot to mention that. They're talking about the pitchers duel. That should be a good one. 6.5 is the number there.
Yeah, Burns 1-2 with a 186 whip and an 080 whip. Or 186 ERA and an 080 whip. Lopez 4-1. His ERA is 1.
Yeah.
His whip is 089. Do you think it'll get over 6.5?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, it might because that's a really low total, and it doesn't take much to get over 6.5. But judging these two pitchers, and more importantly, judging the trend this year, I want no part of an over with those two guys on the mound. I would, if you wanted to play, first 5 under something like that, if you can find a 3.5 somewhere, if you can get at a decent price. I mean, I know you can find it, but if you can get it at 120 or less, I might be interested in that. And you don't have to get the bullpens involved, but both the bullpens have been decent as well. Not great, but decent.
Under 4-0-2 in Burns' starts this year. Totals of 9, 6, 7, 6, 2, and 5. For Lopez, he's actually gone over twice in 5 starts. Totals of 3, 8, 5, 3, and 9. The 9 coming in his last start where he took his first loss of the year against Arizona, giving up 4 runs, 3 earned on 6 hits, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts and 4.
If I'm not mistaken, those are the first runs he gave up this year.
No, he gave up 1 in his first start of the year against San Francisco.
And then he had 3 starts in a row where he gave up nothing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I knew he had a long streak there. So
yeah, he's pitched well. A lot better than I would have anticipated when the season started.
Yep.
I'd have been like, Pablo Lopez, what the hell?
Yeah, I know.
This guy's a sack of shit.
All right, very good. By the way, I'm not sure I want to lay 155 against Lopez. That's a little strong for me. I think Milwaukee probably wins, but
it's actually tapered down to around 145 now.
Good. I think that's right. I think it's the right move, and I think it's a good one to put in a parlay. All right. There you go.
Speaking of games here at the end of this, I'm going to take the Padres over the Braves, which I know you said you were in favor of with you, Darvish, and Max Fried.
Yep. Padres
have played well despite, missing Fernando Tatis, and I still think Atlanta's drunk.
13 and 15 on the season, or the 15 and 17 on the season. Still not
I think they're still hung over from last year's World Series.
It happened.
And Mike said, I'm taking the Royals. And I took them earlier this week, and they won.
Yeah, I know.
When you faded them.
Yep, I know.
Then I took the Rangers yesterday, and they lost. Speaking of the Royals.
I've got to play on this game tomorrow in Colorado. I've got the over tomorrow.
Who's going tomorrow?
It is Daniel Lynch and Herman Marquez.
Oh, fading Lynch again. Here we go.
Well, I'm fading them both.
I saw Bubic got sent down.
Had to do it, man.
But I'm going to take the Royals over the Rockies. Zach Greinke and Kyle Freeland. Like Scott and I were talking about in the pre-show, not sold on Freeland.
No.
He got a whole bunch of money for being a mediocre pitcher.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Giants over the Cardinals. It's supposed to be Logan Webb going against Jordan Hicks. I like Jordan Hicks a lot better when he was throwing 100 out of the bullpen as a closer.
Yep.
Don't like him as a starter.
Talked about the transitions you have to make, being able to pitch at 85, 90% effort as opposed to 100% out of the bullpen. Not everybody can do it.
Yeah, I don't think he can.
Nope. Wade Davis couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Horrible as a starter.
I'm going to take the Angels over the A's. Another one of those guys where you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Chase Silseth making his major league debut for the Angels against Dalton Jeffries, who we tried to talk about once, and he promptly stunk out the joint, and he's been terrible since. Jeffries 1-5 with a 5.22 ERA going into tonight.
Okay. Angels playing good ball.
Yeah. Celtics Bucks, we said we're going to stay under the number there.
Yep.
I'm going to lean towards Memphis and Golden State going over. You have to think Golden State will play better at home than they did on the road, hopefully.
Got to think they won't lose by 40.
Hopefully they'll fix the rims.
I'll take Golden State plus 39.5 this time. I'm stepping out.
I look for Klay Thompson to go over 21.5 points because he had 19 the other day, even though he didn't play in the fourth quarter because that game was over.
All right.
So he's going to have to step up. I look for the Penguins. They're not going to have Sidney Crosby tonight. I look for them to close out the Rangers anyway. I haven't been convinced that New York can win games. I mean, we took them the other night and they paid dividends because they were at home, but I don't like them here. The Panthers and Caps over 6.5, and I'm going to take the Stars over the Flames. Why Klay Thompson over? He hasn't hit over in the last 5 games. He probably would have gone over in Game 5 had the game not been a 55-point game in the third quarter. Because why would you play him at that point?
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he had 19 in that amount of time. I don't
shut him down.
So
okay,
there's no point in playing him after that. I mean, you look at it before that. He had 21 in Game 3. I think he's due. And if Golden State wants to put Memphis away, he's going to have a decent game.
All right. And you got one more? Is that it?
Nope, that was it. We talked about the Stars and the Flames.
About the Stars. All right, there you go. There's a 10 spot for you to mix and match. Just hit the buffet. Make sure you keep your hands behind the sneeze guard and use the spoons, for God's sakes. Let somebody pick up mashed potatoes with their hands one time in a buffet, Chris.
Was it a Golden Corral?
It was a Golden Corral.
How about that?
It was a Golden Corral. Congratulations.
Probably at the same time as there was somebody else sticking their chicken in the chocolate fountain.
Oh, for God's sakes, just stop it, people. All right. Hey, on that note, there's a closer. You guys have a great week, a great weekend. Thanks for joining us this week on the show. We appreciate it. Had a lot of fun. Made some money, Chris. Made some money for your premium subscribers, but you made some money for the free freebies as well. So the daily listeners. Nice week. Let's see if we can keep it going here over the weekend. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it. Don't forget, you can catch us on all the major podcast streaming platforms as well. If you didn't get a chance to see the video, we look a lot better in podcast form. I'm just going to tell you right now. That's the way it works. So you guys have a great weekend. Good luck on all your plays. Stay tuned for Scott and I. Stay tuned for the NASCAR show. And if you can't do either one of those, come back and see us next Monday as Chris and I will talk about everything under the sun and
just parlays.